For the bodyweight squat, we're going to begin by setting up our feet and establishing our neutral posture. But before we do, I just want to mention, not everybody squats the same way. You might feel more comfortable with a wider stance or a more narrow stance. You might feel more comfortable with your toes pointed out or your toes straight ahead. Whatever it is, I encourage you to take the time to find the squat stance that you feel most comfortable with, and then continue to use that same stance consistently as you're performing this movement. Also know that your stance is going to change depending on the tool that you're using, whether you're using a kettlebell, a couple dumbbells, a barbell, whether it's in the front of you or behind you on your shoulders. It's going to change how you set up with your feet, because how the load is distributed is going to determine how those femurs fit into your hip sockets and how they're moving and rotating and bending and flexing with the knees and ankles and your torso and your upper back. It all matters. So give yourself some grace and practice on this bodyweight squat before you make those progressions onto using other tools. For the bodyweight squat, I'm going to begin with my feet about shoulder width apart. Again, you're going to find out what works for you because the person that you train next to at the gym, they're probably going to be squatting a whole lot differently than you do. And that person on YouTube that you watch is probably going to be squatting a whole lot different than you do as well. I've learned not to force yourself into their positions. Find what works for you as long as you're doing it safely. So for me, my toes are going to be slightly out. My feet are going to be shoulder width apart or slightly outside of shoulder width. As I perform the squat, my heels are going to stay down and my feet are going to be flat. First thing I'm going to do is establish my neutral posture with my shoulder blades back. You don't have to squeeze them together like you're trying to crush a can of Coke or something, but pull the shoulder blades together. It's going to set up your upper back and your lower back. Your hands can either be out in front of you, next to your chest, or off to your sides. Just make sure they don't get in the way of your legs. From here, I'm going to take in my belly breath, and to lower myself in the squat, I'm going to imagine like an earthquake just erupted and this gigantic split in the floor just came right between my feet, and for some crazy reason, I'm going to decide to spread that floor apart even more so that I fall down there, I guess. Either way, I'm going to spread the floor apart with my feet. It's going to create tension up the sides of my legs, and it's going to create stability for my hips. You also want to make sure that you allow your ankles and knees to bend freely. We don't want to kind of overbend them. We're just going to naturally allow our body weight to sink down in there. Okay, so first, nice deep belly breath. Spread the floor apart with the feet. As I'm spreading the floor apart with my feet, I'm going to sink down into that squat until my upper legs are about parallel with the ground. Some people feel comfortable sinking even lower. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, don't do it, okay? And then come back up. Belly breath, sink straight down, come back up. One of the most common things with the squat, when people are learning it, if they're apprehensive about it, or if they're lacking some mobility in the hips, knees, and ankles, I know I do in my ankles a little bit from years of rugby, they'll tend to fall forward with the squat, okay, and it almost looks like they're lowering a barbell during a deadlift, and that's not really what we're going for. We want to sink straight down, keeping the torso upright. From the side, same thing. Find your squat stance, feet shoulder width apart, toes straight ahead or pointed out, it's up to you, heels are down. Establish your neutral posture, taking your nice deep belly breath. Spread the floor apart with the feet, sink down into that squat till the upper legs are parallel with the ground, and then come back up. Okay, couple common mistakes with the squat. Again, coming forward as they lower themselves. The knees might be tucking in, or at the very bottom of the squat, you want to avoid your upper back and your lower back creating this arch. You'll notice everything stays neutral throughout the squat. If I go too low, my hips might tuck under a little bit at the bottom. You may see it, you may not. It's all going to depend on how your body is built. If you're not comfortable performing a bodyweight squat, you can try our box squat variation or squat to a box to get you comfortable to lowering yourself under control before you take away the box and start moving under your own body's control. Once you've mastered the bodyweight squat, then you can move up into a kettlebell variation, a dumbbell variation, and then ultimately into the barbell. If you're not good at the squat, I highly recommend getting into that position daily. You don't have to sit there for 5 minutes in the squat position. Whether you're cranking out like 5 bodyweight squats a day, whatever it is, work on the position, get comfortable with it. We're also going to provide, if you're part of our membership site on Resurgent Strength, we will have a full library of stretches and mobility movements that you can do to get yourself into a better squat position. But that's how you do the bodyweight squat.